This is YouTube Drone Doctor, guys. We're out here at the Rose Bowl here in California, and I have Sean and Ethan in front of me. We're out here doing some FPV racing, so I'm going to let these guys talk a little bit about what they do and why we're here.
Hey, thanks, man. I'm Sean.
Ethan.
We started LAFPV as a private weekly racing club in Los Angeles. We were meeting up with a lot of these dudes weekly anyway, and we realized that we wanted to race on a real course. So unfortunately, race events are few and far between, and when you get to them, you got maybe 5 minutes in the air, and if you crash, you're done. That's it. You fly a battery for the day and you're done. We wanted to do something where people could fly all day long, get a ton of practice in on a real course, and it's totally free. So this is the first real event. There's a ton of people here. I think it's working out.
Big turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been very, very cool.
Thanks.
Now, if you were brand new to this, and let's say that we got some kids or some even adults that wanted to just get started with this and go out and get their first racer and get started, any recommendations on what they should start with?
Well, I wouldn't jump right into the high-octane racer right in the beginning. You're going to need some stick time with something a little more friendly, something that's not going to chop your fingers off. I would probably start with like a Horizon Blade Nano QX FPV. It'll give you practice in the goggles or on a monitor, however you want to fly FPV, and it handles very similar to a race quad. Yeah, and then once you start building up, you could do a ready-to-fly thing, like Immersion Vortex or an Emax Nighthawk or something, but really, eventually you're going to have to learn how to build these things, full DIY. So buy a good frame, and start picking out your parts and understanding what each component does, and it'll help you be a better racer. That's the way I do it.
Expect a lot of crashes?
Oh, yeah, we've already had 10 of them. We just were on the second practice lap.
Yeah, crashes are inevitable.
Yeah.
But these things are surprisingly tough. You'll go ahead and you'll smash into the ground. If you land props up, half the time you can take right off again.
Yeah, most of the time you're just breaking props. Those are a couple bucks, for a whole set.
You'll fly through maybe $5 worth of props in a day.
The thing is, the frames are so light. They're carbon frames, so the weight ratio is really low. The thrust to weight ratio is really high, actually. Because the heaviest thing on there is your battery. And then if you crash, it's just not like you're slamming a ton of weight into the ground. So it's not the end of the world. Usually the frame is going to survive, and your motors and everything. So yeah, props are cheap.
Now, do we have one that we can kind of take a quick peek in?
This is the Impulse RC Alien. This is the 5-inch version. So it's kind of like a squashed X frame. And here's your FPV camera on the front. If you notice, it's got a pretty severe tilt on the FPV cam. And that's because when you're flying forward, your quad tilts like this. It's going to put more thrust in these back motors, and it's going to push it forward. So if your camera's just pointed straight, you're just going to be looking at the ground. It's not very useful. So you tilt it up, that gives you faster forward flight without having to tilt and look at the ground. A little harder to take off and land, but and then these are tri-blade HQ props, really high thrust ratio, Cobra motors, KISS ESCs, Tornado ES flight controller. I'm using this with the...
Oh, we must have a crash out there, yeah.
that was into the flag.
Into the flag.
Oh, he's back up. All right.
There you go.
And we'll talk about that course here in a second, guys. Now, a typical setup, like something like this, what are we looking at?
This is probably a little high end, at least for the quad.
That wouldn't be a typical setup.
Yeah, this is probably a little more advanced setup. It's really fast. And the battery is large, but the discharge rate is really high on these. So that way, you can push them full throttle without worrying about the batteries being damaged. But this is a more advanced kind of flyer.
Gotcha.
This is not a cruiser.
You couldn't buy this. You have to.
This is the full.
You have
to
build
this. Yeah.
Every connection is soldered. There's no plugs.
Yeah.
Now, I noticed also you're holding some goggles. We're going to talk to the gentleman who actually made this. But do we have anybody out there that we can take a look at?
There's someone in the air right now. Oh, they just.
Okay, let me put this on pause. You guys have to see this. This VX-1 goggles are amazing. Let me show you guys here in a second. All right, let's take another look. Here's a gentleman. He's out here doing some high-speed stuff. Let's see if you guys can take a look at his monitor. Now, here's a relaxing day.
Let me double check. Who's waiting on?
So how long have you been doing this?
Like a year.
A year. Wow. Did it take you a long time to learn this?
No,
Took me a couple weeks.
Really?
Yeah.
Any recommendations for people that are starting to do this for the first time?
I'm just really used to playing video games, so it's like a video game for me.
Oh, that's perfect. So if you have never done this before and you picked up one of these and you're just kind of looking at the monitor and you're just kind of flying, very typical to grabbing an Xbox or a PlayStation remote and flying first person.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So your typical setup that you have here, what are we looking at as far as cost? Do you know?
My quad, it was $250 without the FPV setup. This monitor.
All right, Carl, last lap. That was it, Carl.
All right, my bad.
Bring it back.
Very cool. Even doing barrel rolls out there.
Yeah. Oh, I flipped.
Very nice. Very nice. So your bird is about 250,
Yeah.
and then your transmitter.
This is 130, 150, I think, and these are 35 for two of them. Radio's the most expensive, I think, in my opinion, because if you want to get a good one, it's around like 350.
Gotcha. Very cool. And thank you. What was your name?
Garo.
Garo, thanks for taking your time to spend a couple minutes with us. So can you tell us a little bit about what's the object here? I see this is the starting point, and then you've got a lot of different obstacles that people have to fly around and through. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about what's the object?
Sure. Well, you pretty much just want to get around this track as fast as you can. You go around flags. They're on the corner. You have to go under and through the gates. They're the like hoop-looking things. We have a tunnel in the center that you go through, and then you go through another gate and around the flag. And when you come back, you actually go under a gate, jump over this tunnel here, and then under this gate again. So through the tunnel, through the gates, around the flags. If you miss a gate, it's a real pain in the ass to go back. There's lots of different ways that people try and enforce it, like you have to go back or else you can't finish your lap.
Do you get penalized on points or time?
It really depends on who you're racing with. With IDRA, they do it differently than Multi-GP does.
No, IDRA, what are we talking about?
That's the International Drone Racing Association.
Okay.
They put together races around the U.S., but it's also new that we just haven't really come up with a good way to do timing and penalties. And then part of the downside is also every single quad needs its own referee to know to really enforce if you missed a gate. We just try and have fun here, so we just go ahead and say, you missed a gate, cool, well, we're not racing for money here, this is a free event. We just want to go ahead and get some airtime in, so...
Great location, great weather.
It's a great spot. I believe this is actually an AMA sanctioned field, so we're good to fly here all the time.
Fantastic.
It's beautiful out here.
It is.
Nice empty field.
Awesome.
It's great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, good. So when is your dad coming back?
Yeah, right. It's the one to race with it twice. Big races, barrel changing.
Guys, this is Brandon. Brandon is very unique to this hobby, and he actually developed these goggles here. These are called the VX-1, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what the images look like, and we're going to show him actually using these and flying them. So can you tell me a little bit about these, and where'd you get the idea?
Well, the VX-1 kind of arrived from my need for an FPV goggle, because I wear glasses and it's hard for me to wear a standard pair of goggles, so I wanted to make an FPV goggle that lets people get into the hobby at a pretty inexpensive price point, and also have a very big field of view, 50 degrees wide, so it feels like you're watching a big screen TV. And the way that we accomplish this is using a pretty large 4.3-inch screen on the inside, and then we have lenses with different diopters, so you can choose the perfect lens combination for your vision. And one of the most interesting things about the product is that it actually allows you to use it in 3 different ways. So you can use it like a traditional goggle with a strap. And if you're just getting started in FPV, you can also mount it on a stand. And the last way is you can actually mount it on the bill of a hat. There's a clip here that you can wear it on the
very
bill of your
cool.
hat. So yeah, so it gives you a lot of different ways to wear the goggle, and
Very
then
cool.
the goggle itself is pretty interesting because it has a battery that's 7 hours battery life.
7 hours.
7 hours on one
Wow.
charge, and it has 48 channels.
Does it come complete? Does it have everything that we see here other than the stand, of course?
Other than the stand, it comes complete with that, and then it comes with a case that you can carry everything in, and the whole thing kind of folds flat. You can pull the lens out.
Wow. Now, what does this run?
It's $179.
Outstanding.
Actually, we're just about to go race right now.
That's
It looks like it's our
fantastic.
things.
Okay, stay tuned. Here we go.
Hold on. Who just went down? I did. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna flip you over.
So what you guys are seeing,
Oh, he's crashing. Oh.
that's pretty cool.
Oh, something knocked up my video though. I'm getting a lot of video interference.
Everybody still powered up, folks.
So here he is here. He's looking into his. We've got it relayed up here. This doesn't have the diopter in it, but we took that out so that you guys can actually see it a little bit better using the Osmo camera.
Really weird with mine. I got a landmine.
Oh, there's a good one. And that's what it looks like from first-person view.
That's what crashing looks like. There's something out of tune there.
Yeah, we saw the interference. We weren't seeing that earlier, so
No.
definitely somebody's on that channel.
Yeah, it's this thing with these in the events here. There's all kinds of radio interference, and it's not always, you know, it's just it's a fact of the sport. You know, you got to deal with it and learn how to address it. And I'll just double check things, make sure I'm not on someone else's channel.
Right,
Yeah.
right. No, this is great. Now, this is one of your guys' first events out here, so this is work in progress, but boy.
Yeah, this thing is moving pretty
it's
fast.
huge. Yeah, it's huge.
This sport is like every time we come to a meetout, I mean, it's doubled like in size pretty much every time there's a meetup. Oh, wow, and that was amazing.
That was somebody snapping on the top of the tent.
Yeah.
Now, if somebody was interested in picking this up, is there a website or anything that they could go to?
Yeah, you can find it at vuxl.com.
vuxl.com.
Yeah, you can find the kit there. We have it in 2 forms. You can have it as a goggle only, and if you're just getting into FPV, you can also get it with a camera and video transmitter too.
Great. And if people wanted to ask you any questions about this product, is there an email that they could reach you at?
Oh, you can reach us at info@vuxl.com.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much for taking the time
Thank
to give us some.
Oh, shit.
Wow.
Yeah, you gotta get some live
I got
crash
some
footage.
good stuff to watch.
Yeah.
Thanks again.